winning 90% of your new business because you have some sort of incredible value.
I'm going to take a bit of a different angle.
I've got a budget this big. I'm going to give it to you because you have a really killer plan.
You give a Red Bull to a turtle, what do you expect?
I think that's a dead turtle. So let's move on to...
E-break. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Does your current premium finance company lock you into long-term agreements? That's because they don't want you talking to us. At IFS, we win your business the good old-fashioned way, with customer service. I know you don't always have to use a premium finance company, but when you do, you should use IFS. Cheers.
Hi there, and welcome to the Digital Insurance Pint podcast. I'm your host, Tom Reed, and I'm joined today by my colleagues Adam Mitchell, CEO of Mitch Insurance.
Hello.
Jeff Roy, CEO of Excalibur Insurance.
Welcome all pinters.
And Steve Earle, CEO of Bald Insurance and Cheap Insurance.
Hello.
And before we get going, to introduce our guest, Noel Fegali, CEO of Panda7, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, IFS Premium Finance. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it. And now we're going to delve a bit into Noel, and I'm going to ask Jeff to give him the DIPP rapid fire. Over to you, Jeff.
All right. Tell all our listeners, who is your favorite Canadian band?
I would say it's Drake. So I grew up listening to hip hop and rap.
I don't think we've got that answer, have we?
I think that's the first Drake. All right.
I think it is.
Well done. Well done. You an iPhone or Droid user, Noel?
iPhone, all the way.
Good. Right answer. What is your favorite AI app you're using personally, not for business, but that you can't live without right now?
Has to be ChatGPT. I think it's everyone's go-to right now.
When you're not changing the insurance world one click at a time, what do you like to do in your spare time? Share that with our listeners.
I'm changing diapers.
First child, or how many kids do you have?
2 kids, very young, 5 and 2. So they keep me active.
Oh, wow. So sleep is a premium, is it?
It's getting better. It's getting better.
Perfect. And now I know you got a young family, but let's say the grandparents took the kids for a week. Where in the world would you travel to get away and have a break?
My favorite spot is has to be the south of Italy. I've been there twice so far. My brother-in-law is from there. We always have a good time. Great food, great weather.
Good choice. Great spot. All right, Tom, I'm going to pass it over to you. Great job, Noel.
So thanks for that, Jeff. All right, so Noel, let's get a bit of a background on yourself. How did you wind up being the CEO of Panda7? And while you're at it, can you talk about how Panda7 came to be the organization that it is as well?
Well, right now I'm the one who's responsible of Panda7, but just so you know, Panda7 is part of a larger group where we have each brand focusing on a specific distribution model. We have our traditional retail brokerage, LMBF Insurance. We also have our franchising agency in Quebec. It's Assuruni. In Ontario, it's Unibrokers, where we hire independent brokers. We give them all the back office support, access to market and training. And we also operate our MGA, Vago Assure. And it's only in 2019, it was following the AMF's decision here in Quebec to allow the sales of insurance products online. This is when Panda7 was born. So we decided, that we needed to, not to influence the other agencies, to start something really from scratch. And, new branding, new culture, new team. And it happened, during a period where many insurtech in the US were gaining a lot of visibility. And so we got inspired by this trend, and we followed suit. So, searching for that perfect name, we wanted something that was lovable. We wanted something that was easy to remember. We wanted that cool factor. And at the same time, we wanted, to display what we want to represent. So no gray zone, black on white. And that's how, we came up with the name Panda7. We wanted Panda only, but that domain was selling for $20 million. So we had to figure something else. And, at the beginning, we tried to be way too creative. We wanted to measure everything that was possible to measure. And, it was only until 2021 where we truly found our footing. And, instead of obsessing on, being a tech-driven company, we went back to, let's try to be a really good insurance broker and, powered by good technology and good marketing.
If I could just point out, I think that the website that you have is actually quite pretty cool. It's a pretty cool website. When I was pulling it up, I think you got 4.6 or something like that stars on Google reviews. This is a really nice website. Maybe Noel, can you talk a bit about the background behind how you've built your website and what sort of thought process went into it?
Of course. Well, we wanted to keep things, as simple as possible. We spent a lot of time, studying the process from the moment that, somebody thinks of buying insurance, all the way to the moment that the policy is issued. So we started with the online experience. We wanted simplicity from beginning to end. So we revisited everything online. Every question that we were asking, we made sure it was shortened. We made sure it was easy to understand. The answers, it had to be yes or no. And when that wasn't feasible, we had to give our users options, no open-ended answers. We also, if there was any data that we can go grab from public databases, we had to have access to those APIs. So, we wanted really to keep that process very simple, very easy for people to go from A to Z, really, and also get an accurate quote. So if you see each step, you have, it's only one question per step. We thought about the user experience over mobile as well. So if somebody's grabbing his phone with one hand, everything can be done just with the thumb. There's a lot of thinking into the simplicity process of it.
No, let me dig in after that because I'm hearing that from an auto perspective, you have real time connectivity, accurate rates, and so on. And I think you also have on the property side. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have access to data that other jurisdictions don't have. Like I think you have a bunch of municipal data as relates to property, not valuations, but property information. Can you expand upon that a little bit?
Yes, of course. I mean, most of the major cities here in Quebec, Montreal, Quebec City, Laval, they have all the data. They make all the data available. It's public information, so where you can really plug in through an API or just download the CSV file, and you have the information on all of their properties on their territory. So year of construction, how many floors, the type of constructions, is it a condo building, is there commercial use in the building? So they have all of those stats that we plug in right away into our system. And this is where if we have access, if it's a big city like Montreal, we don't ask our users, hey, when was your property built in? Or, how many units do you have in your building? So we have that already.
That's awesome. Let me drift back to where I should have gone to this thing earlier is so what's the net sum of this very slick website and things is how fast is Panda7 growing, and what else can you tell us and sort of the users about that? And
so we had to rethink our strategy at the end of 2021, and in January 2022, this is where we put in place a new way of operating. So this is we saw that Panda7 has a lot of skills into driving traffic, into getting leads, into and closing sales. So we decided to focus on that. So we put all of our energy into prospecting, marketing, getting the leads, and making the sales. And once the sale is complete, we transfer that client to our sister agency. That's LMBF Insurance. So they can manage, they can do the service. They have the team to do that. And we were two. That was in January 2022. Today we're a team of 40. Out of that 40, we have 30 brokers that do, full-time sales. And the other 10, half of it are developers, and the other half are admin. So it's growing fast. There's a lot of room to grow. We've been tripling our sales, I would say, every year since 2022. And there's a lot of room left here in Quebec.
Out of curiosity, Noel, you brought up an interesting point that you couldn't legally sell digitally until 2019 in Quebec. So maybe tell our listeners, I wasn't aware of that. And I was in Quebec at IBAC with Tom and Steve, learning all the great thing your association's doing to help online raters, which we had done as an association 10 or 12 years earlier. Didn't work out for us in Ontario just because it wasn't structured correctly and it wasn't intuitive. But maybe talk to us about, why it was so late to be approved in Quebec. And really, you're one of the first people to really get at it, and you're completely, looks like you're dominating that space.
I don't know why it took so long. I mean, I thought it was because before making it officially legal, the law wasn't specifying that it was illegal to do it. The law was way too old when it was created. The internet wasn't there yet. So the law didn't really specify that it was illegal. So it was operating in that gray zone. And, one player, Desjardins, started selling online before, the law was enforced. And that, that kind of, forced the hand of the AMF to take a stand on this and decide to, come up with, a really structured guide of how this should operate online. And they didn't only do it for the PNC business. They had to think about how they do it for life and other products that can be sold online.
I recall Bel Air back in early 2000s selling online. I mean, it was fake because there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. It wasn't real online sales, but it appeared to be online sales. So I guess there was some of that activity around for a while. I guess AMF decision really just opened the floodgates, I guess.
What's surprising here in Quebec is that not many other brokers decided to take that approach. So the directs are in it. You have Sonnet, you have Bel Air doing it, you have Desjardins doing it aggressively. But there's only another startup that's actually doing it, doing sales online, and it's another small insurance broker. So I don't see why the big ones didn't really decide to invest in it and take that approach.
I just want to ask, I know that anybody going digital in Ontario, they were bad. The leads are terrible. A lot of brokers that were traditional, I wouldn't say made fun of it, but a lot of people had bad comments on it. It was just the way people bought and the world evolved, but there's a lot of people resisting it. Do you have that kind of mindset in Montreal or Quebec? There's a lot of people that are against it. They're not adapting to it. Is that kind of the markets aren't receptive to it? What kind of resistance have you had, Noel, being one of the guys out in front of the tip of the spear?
That's how it was in the beginning. It was really hard for us to convince our carriers that, hey, we're going to allow people to fully do the process online and bind. So yeah, at the beginning, there was a lot of resistance from mainly from the insurance companies. But that changed over time. I mean, right now, it's a no-brainer. Everybody wants to be in that space. Everybody wants to advertise online. Everybody wants to start the process online. They send us all those stats. I think over 75% of the process begins online versus, over the phone or another way. So I think right now it's just a natural, and it's just gonna keep growing. It's we don't see it, going backwards.
Did you start a new website for Panda7, or is it's been going for a while? I notice your SEO is on a solid tear. Do you have a particular strategy on that versus other? Did you get a new SEO guy in 22, 23?
So we, in 22, we decided this is where we put everything in place, and we decided to invest heavily. SEO is one thing. SEO, it's you have to start as early as possible, but that's something that's long term. You get those dividends really after months and months of a lot of work. So now we see like a big, a big change. We're very active, very active when it comes to backlinks. We're very active when it comes to advertising in newspapers. So yeah, we do have a dedicated team that's focusing on the SEO front.
So Noel, before we get into AI, talking about that, tell us about your tech stack as is non-AI. Like, what do you use for digital marketing? What BMS are you running? That kind of stuff.
So, we built everything around our website, and all the tools that our brokers use, we custom build them for them, built specifically for sales. So we don't use a BMS. Really, once everything is finalized, inside Panda7, LMBF gets notified with all of the details. Everything gets created into LMBF's BMS. Now the group is operating on Epic, and the only outside tool that we use is CompuQuote for our brokers.
So it means your sales force is highly efficient, given that you're in your own system only.
Exactly. So we've also integrated our CRM inside of our systems as well. So we built our CRM to within the engine. So we built this from scratch, and we're it's actually public. So it's called Doro CRM, and we tweaked it for it to be really efficient for us. And what we've been, how it helped us mainly, it's really because when we integrated SMS through our communication with our clients, and now it's just our brokers can get their day without it really.
Is Doro DORO?
DOROCRM.com.
When you say it's public, does that mean you're licensing it to other brokers?
No, well, for brokers, what we have right now, surprisingly, we have a lot of gyms signing up. We don't have any brokers, only the Mano signed up for it here in Quebec. That's the only broker, but for some reason in the US, we have a lot of gyms that signed up.
Gyms, like where people go to work out.
Yeah, like CrossFit gyms and,
Interesting.
Small local gyms.
No, I think my understanding is you're using one or more AI tools. You referenced ChatGPT earlier in the introduction. Can you talk a bit about where you're using AI in Panda7?
So last year, about a year ago, when OpenAI came up with where you can build your own GPT, this is where we started playing with those tools, and we put together all of our documentation, all of our our procedures, our guidelines, and we put all of that in this engine, and we made it available for our brokers. And at the beginning they really loved it, especially those new brokers where they can have access easily to ask any questions, get the proper answer. And we saw that after 3 months, people stopped using it. It wasn't popular anymore. It wasn't and when we killed it at the 4th month, nobody complained. Nobody said, "Hey, what's happening? Where's that tool?" It's like it completely disappeared. So we had to review a bit what was going on, what we wanted to do with that. It's something we're not really we haven't integrated any AI into our core business. But I can tell you we're actively preparing for it, and that includes upgrading our tech stack, optimizing our systems, and mainly structuring our data. It's no secret that AI, to perform effectively, it requires proper training, but also access to well-organized data and content. And we want to make sure all of our systems, our tools, our phone systems, they communicate well together before diving into this.
Where do you see in that tech stack, what is the one thing that you could add into Panda7 right now that would completely kick ass and make your salespeople go, wow, what is that?
Well, I could tell we stopped seeing the broker as a human. Now we see more the broker as a concept, as a way of operating. And mainly, where it's going to have the most impact, I think AI voice agents are coming. And this is where, they're going to be playing a significant role on the distribution front. And, maybe at the beginning, they're going to be handling simple tasks like data collection. but their capabilities are going to expand, and they'll be able to manage, much more complex transactions, and eventually finalize that entire process, really from A to Z, where they can actually bind a policy. And you know what that means? It's availability all the time, 24/7, and that will really change the rules of the game.
I'm interested. I mean, the bit of the low hanging fruit is, what's your thinking on how you decide on different technologies? But I want to pivot off that one slightly. And you've pulled off a lot of things, and you're involved in a lot of things. And, if we assume that they're all going decently well, you got a way bigger variety of execution than majority of teams. Can you talk a bit about your team and how you've built this team, and what type of team does it take to execute on this and power this sort of vision?
Well, I'm very lucky. I have two great partners that are part of all of the projects. And when we decided to add, I'm gonna name them Jimmy and Milad. So they each have their own responsibilities. They each have their own strengths. I'm the geeky guy that loves tech more than them. But when we decided to start Panda7, we knew we needed more than that. It couldn't just be me only. We needed real talent. So I was able to convince someone that was very familiar in that space, that had done startups in the past, so a real CTO, to join Panda7. So he's really the mind behind everything that we're building inside Panda7, and also translating and helping our other agencies. He's coming from he studied in the US. He went to MIT. He started startups. He understand how to build a tech stack. He understand the scaling challenges, and also it's he helped a lot into stabilizing how Panda7 grows. So we really had to, the technology is one thing, but the technology has to operate at the same level as your insurance operations, and at the same level as your marketing is going, and at the same level as your finances are going. And if one goes faster or slower than the others, then everything gets screwed up in the process. So if you have too much marketing, then your brokers can't do the job. Then you have unhappy clients, and the other way around. If you don't have enough leads, then you have just brokers. You're just burning money by having brokers not do much. So it's really finding that perfect balance within our ecosystem to function well.
So you're on the CSIO board, Noel, now. You've been at the first meeting, your first meeting?
Yes.
Nice. So welcome as a fellow board member. What do you want to see change there? You're kind of still on the outside looking in. You've got a bit of information now. What do you feel could be opportunities for change with respect to that organization?
First, I want to start by giving, at the beginning, a voice for the brokers here in Quebec, and also support the other brokers that are as well on the board. And I know that we share a lot of the same realities, a lot of the challenges, and I also know that the CSIO is it has proven multiple times in the past that it can bring positive change. So really, that's the thinking that I had when I accepted the role, and I started to dig in and I saw the depth of all of the things that the CSIO is currently doing. But I think the thing that can help the brokers right now, or our industry, is really be able to build more connectivity. I've been saying this for too long, but if we had more options, we had that freedom to be able to have our systems talk more freely and easily within the ecosystem. I think everybody would benefit, and right now we're stuck with just one or two decent VMS providers. A lot are talking about trying to come on board, and they want to change things or do things, but so far it's the same speech that we've been hearing since I started in insurance for the past 17 years. And it's only it's only one company that was actually able to do something, but then you get locked, you get trapped within that one company. And I think it should be much more open than that.
Yeah. So I just want to add a comment here. Steve, you've been talking about Noel joining the CSIO board, and Noel, I've known Noel for a few years now, and he's a really humble guy who's done a lot of stuff. And I want to call out Noel's participation with the Quebec Broker Association, the RCCAQ, right? Noel mentioned Domano earlier, which is a Quebec Association tool that is meant to lift all brokers by giving them access to consumers who access insurance online. Noel's been able to take advantage of some of the data that flows much more freely in Quebec than it does in other parts of the country. And it's obviously, as we talked earlier, spent a lot of time and a lot of money to build up a more digital brokerage. And, what I see that Panda7 has done is because Noel spent that time, that money, hired the right people, done the right things, but it's difficult, right? And that's why there's very few Panda7s. But if the RCCAQ has their way, and we all keep pushing on CSIO, that I think this opens up that door to a lot more organizations to be able to do some of the things that Panda7 has done. So I look at Noel as quite the pioneer. But the great thing is that he's trying to pull the rest of the industry along with him. So huge respect and kudos to you, Noel.
Great job.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that.
Is retention important to your brokerage? Of course it is. That's why at IFS, we have a cancellation prevention process. Want more details? Give us a call. I know you don't always use a premium finance company, but when you do, you should use IFS. Cheers.